Welcome to Worchester Street. I hope you enjoy your stay. Before we get started on this story, I just wanted to remind you that the best way to support this channel is through Patreon. I have a special new reward tier where you and I will work together to create a story based on a concept that you suggest to be submitted to r/nosleep and to be uploaded here to YouTube. Now, let's get started. Over President's Day weekend, I took a trip with a couple of friends to my grandparents' place. My grandparents have a lot of money and land, so when they offered us the chance to stay for the weekend, we were quick to accept. We spent most of Saturday exploring the property with my dog, Major. Now, when I say my grandparents have a lot of land, I mean at least a few thousand acres. They have hiking trails that crisscross over the property, and even a few areas that have some pretty nice views. I'd been there a few times before, so I felt pretty comfortable navigating around. Early in the afternoon, we decided to leave a trail and cut across to another path. We'd been walking for a few hundred yards when we came upon the entrance to a cave. It was so well camouflaged that my friend almost fell into it. I took a picture of it, which you've been seeing. I'd never heard of a cave on my grandparents' land, but I figured it was possible it had just been missed all these years. We weren't prepared for cave exploration at all, but I'd been on a few cave expeditions, so I figured I knew what I was doing. On top of that, we all had our cell phone lights, and we were all nearly fully charged. And we were all feeling adventurous, so we decided to go ahead and give it a shot. My dog Major was acting strange around the mouth of the cave, though. I was surprised at this, as he'd actually come with me on my other caving excursions, and had never had a problem before. We tried to convince him to come down into the cave with us, but he just sat down whimpering with his tail between his legs. After a few minutes of this, we just gave up, and tied him to a tree near the entrance to wait for us. I wish I'd paid more attention to his reaction. The cave wasn't too cramped in the beginning, and we made good progress. We were all excited about the prospect of exploring this random cave and didn't stop to think about how far we were getting into it. I took a short video as we entered the cave, which I'll play now. Do this real quick.
It's chilly.
The wind was blowing into the cave from behind us, so we had a constant tailwind as we wound deeper into the cave. Our eyes adjusted pretty quick, so the lights from our phones were more than enough to light the way. After what must have been half an hour, the cave came to what seemed like a dead end. We stopped for a moment to rest and talk, but I noticed that I was still feeling that strong tailwind. If this was really the end of the cave, the wind wouldn't be nearly so strong. I felt along the wall until I came to a hole maybe 2 feet in diameter. The wind was rushing into it, making a soft whistling sound. I suggested we check it out to see where it led. My friends naturally called me crazy, but even so, I decided to give it a try. The space was flat on the bottom with a curved roof. It was small enough that I had to completely exhale to squeeze through the most cramped portions, but it wasn't too bad. My friends took this picture of me as I crawled through the tunnel. On the other side, I found myself in a small room. I can't fully explain why I kept going forward. To be honest, at this point, I had been feeling extremely nervous, but I felt like I needed to see what was on the other side of the tunnel. I recorded a video in the small room, which I'll play now. As you can see in the video, the room climbs up to the left. Again, I don't know why I was doing it. Maybe I was thinking about being the first person to explore a virgin cave, or maybe I was just hoping to see a cool crystal formation. But no, none of those are true. I did it because I felt like something was calling me into the cave, but I can't explain how or why. After climbing up and out of the smaller room, I found myself in a larger chamber. I called out to my friends, but I couldn't hear anything they said. Cave acoustics can be very strange. Up to this point, the wind had been blowing near constantly. I was standing in the chamber, just taking it in, when the wind came to a sudden and complete stop. There was no sound or movement at all, and I started recording a new video. As I recorded the complete silence, I walked over a few rocks. That's when I heard it from deep in the cave ahead of me. It sounded like a little girl's voice, echoing from deeper in the darkness. It was singing. Not any song I recognized. The voice was just singing lazily, la la. I froze in place, every hair on my body standing up, and I held my phone towards the sound. That's when my light shut off. I looked down frantically at my screen and saw that my entire phone was shutting down. I pushed the power button over and over, but nothing happened. Here's the video I took. I stood there in the pitch black, listening hard. The singing stopped, leaving me standing in a deep, disturbing silence. Then, I felt the wind start back up again, only instead of a tailwind, I felt a headwind coming from deeper in the cave. It smelled foul, like 100 decaying bodies mixed with something even worse that I can't describe. I fell back and ran for the room that I'd climbed out of in the darkness. I tripped over a few of the boulder-sized rocks, but somehow managed to find my way back to the tunnel with just a few scrapes. I told my friends I was coming, and they helped me out of the tunnel. When we got back to the mouth of the cave, Major was gone. All that was left was his leash, chewed through. We found him back at my grandparents' place, still whimpering. I don't know what to think about what happened. Was there a little girl in the cave? Is the smell of decay something that can naturally happen? If I find anything new, I'll update you here. I hope you enjoyed this story. If so, you can subscribe below, or click on the screen now to hear a new story. Huge shoutouts to 002 Archer on Patreon. As always, thank you for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed your time on Worchester Street.